Hey everyone, welcome back to Still Worth the Journey. I'm your host Jermaine, and as always, I'm here to talk about the real life struggles we all face, especially when it comes to our mental health. I'm not a trained therapist or a counsellor, just someone who's been through some tough times and wants to share what I've learned along the way, in hopes that it might help some of you out there who are struggling. Today's episode is one that's incredibly important but also really heavy, dealing with the aftermath of an abusive upbringing. If you grew up in a home where you were hurt, neglected or made to feel worthless, you might still be carrying those scars with you today. The trauma from an abusive childhood doesn't just disappear when you become an adult. It can follow you into your relationships, your self-esteem, and even your sense of identity. But here's the thing, you're not defined by what happened to you. You are more than your past, and it is possible to heal, to grow, and to find peace. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the impact of an abusive upbringing, share some advice on how to start the healing process, and offer tips on protecting your mental health as you move forward. This is a tough conversation, but it's one that needs to be had. Let's get into it. Understanding the impacts of an abusive upbringing. When you grow up in an abusive environment, it shapes the way you see the world, the way you see others, and most importantly, the way you see yourself. Abuse can take many forms: physical, emotional, verbal, or even neglect, and each of these can leave lasting scars. You might find yourself struggling with feelings of worthlessness, guilt, or shame, even though none of what happened was your fault. For a long time, I felt like I was carrying this huge weight around with me. The anger, the pain, the constant self-doubt. It was like a shadow that followed me everywhere. I found it hard to trust people, hard to believe that I deserved good things, and hard to shake the feeling that I was somehow broken or unlovable. These feelings are incredibly common for those who've experienced abuse, and they can manifest in different ways: anxiety, depression, difficulty forming relationships, or even self-destructive behaviours. The important thing is to understand that these are the responses of trauma. They don't define who you are. They are not. They are not who you are. So how do we begin to heal? How do we start to let go of the past and build a life that's not defined by what we went through? That's what I want to talk about next. Steps to healing and moving forward. Healing from an abusive upbringing is a journey, and it is one that takes time, patience, and a lot of self-compassion. Here are some tips that can help you on that path. Number 1, acknowledging the pain. The first step in healing is acknowledging what you went through and recognising that it wasn't your fault. This might seem obvious, but it's something a lot of people struggle with. We're often taught to minimise our pain or to believe that we somehow deserved what happened to us. But the truth is, no one deserves to be abused, and it's okay to acknowledge the hurt you've experienced. Number 2, seek professional help. If you're dealing with the trauma of an abusive upbringing, it can be incredibly helpful to talk to a therapist who specialises in trauma or abuse. Therapy can provide a safe space to explore your feelings, work through your pain, and develop coping strategies. It's important to find a therapist who understands trauma and who you feel comfortable with. Someone who can guide you through the healing process at your own pace. Number 3, build a support system. Healing from trauma isn't something you have to do alone. Whether it's friends, family, a support group, or an online community. Having people who understand and support you can make a huge difference. These are the people who can offer a listening ear, remind you of your worth, and help you navigate the tough moments. Number 4, challenge negative beliefs. Abuse often leaves us with a lot of negative beliefs about ourselves, like we're not good enough, we're unlovable, or we're destined to fail. These beliefs are lies that we installed in us by someone else, and they can be incredibly hard to shake. But it's important to start challenging them. One way to do this is by practicing positive affirmations or reminding yourself of your strengths and achievements. Over time, you can start to rewire your thinking and build a more positive self-image. Practice self-care and self-compassion. When you've grown up in an abusive environment, self-care can feel like a foreign concept, but taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally is crucial to healing. This means doing things that make you feel good, setting boundaries and being gentle with yourself when things get tough. Self-compassion is about treating yourself with the kindness and understanding that you deserve, even when you are struggling. Number 6, give yourself time and patience. Healing is not a linear process, and it's not something that happens overnight. There will be setbacks, there will be times when it feels like you're not making any progress, but it's important to be patient with yourself and to recognise that every small step forward is a victory. It's okay to take things one day at a time. Moving towards peace and empowerment. As we talk about healing, I want to emphasise something important. Your past does not define you. What happened to you was not your fault, and it doesn't determine your worth or your future. You have the power to reclaim your life, to build healthy relationships, and to find peace and happiness. It's okay to grieve the childhood you didn't have. It's okay to feel angry, sad, or lost. But it's also okay to find joy, to love yourself, and to create a life that feels good to you. Healing is about reclaiming your power and recognising that you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness. If you're feeling overwhelmed or stuck, remember the help is available. Here are some resources in the UK that can offer you support. National Association for People Abused in Childhood, or the NAPAC. Their number is 0808 801 0331. That's 0808 801 0331. You've got Mind, mental health support, and their number is 0300 123 3393. Samaritans, available 24/7. Contact them at 116 123. Childline, support for young people, is 0800 1111. Thank you for joining me today on Still Worth the Journey. I know this was a heavy topic, but it's one that so many people need to hear. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Remember, no matter what you've been through, you're still worth the journey. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay strong, and keep moving forward. You've been listening to Still Worth the Journey with Jermaine. Join me next week as we continue exploring life's challenges, finding hope and reminding ourselves that it's all still worth the journey.